So I would suggest you to lodge NT expression of interest, whichever occupation you are on, because NT is a very big list. And as you have seen last year, they auto invited lots of people without even lodging an ROI, because NT has two systems to go for. First, or you call the process. First process is lodge an EOI, then you have to lodge an ROI if you're meeting the requirement. That is for onshore and offshore both. Now, if you have lodged an EOI and you closely look into the NT, and if they opens up for 25-26 because they have yet to get the allocation for 25-26 because still 24-25 financial are happening at the moment, you still have plenty of buffer to work around. And as soon as NT opens up, you immediately lodge an ROI. That will help you out getting invitation quicker because they close down the rounds very quickly because everybody is keeping an eye on NT. And as soon as they have flooded of applications, they close down within few months. They also have different streams for offshore. So you need to keep an eye. If you have friends and family already living in NT, you might get an priority. But whereas for offshore, they have their own skill occupation list, which you need to look closely. Second strategy would be to lodge EOIs for each and every state. Say Victoria, but you have to lodge an ROI as well. South Australia, Western Australia. Queensland being very pessimistic at the moment. They're very conservative giving invitations, but you never know, they start giving lots of invitations. So you keep an eye on that. So that way for offshore applicants who are still struggling, 25-26 would be a game changer for you if you keep an eye on the state sponsorships. Just like for my clients, we have lodged EOIs for all these states, regardless if they're open or not. Because if they open up, we don't want to get into disadvantage. Now, very interesting is the onshore applicants, those who are in different states. They are waiting for the invites to happen. I'm always, a big ambassador of going to Northern Territory. As I started with my offshore application, first strategy is an NT to go with an NT state sponsorship. Similar for onshore. Now for onshore, you need to be in NT in order to meet the requirement. Now NT has two streams. They're pretty straightforward on this one. One is study, other one is the work one. So if you have studied in NT for 2 years, you would be either eligible for 491 or 190. For 190, you need to stay another 6 months. So those on TR, they have better opportunity to get a 190. Whereas those who are on a student visa and they have turned to 35 years, they cannot lodge a TR and they don't have any option to go with student visa either they will get a refusal. They have best chance to get a 491. Now work stream is very simple. You have to stay in NT for 12 months and work in a nominated occupation for 12 months. But if you are working closely relevant to your nominated occupation, which is not highly relevant, still they consider. So you should put an application, try to apply for 190, but if you just speak to them, negotiate, you may be able to end up in 491. We have done lots of cases where accountants, they're not working in the industry, they're working aged care, still be able to get 491, but you need to negotiate, discuss with NT state sponsorship people. This is how it works. But that is only for onshore. Offshore, they don't consider speaking or discussing on any of the issues. So this is for NT. Now, if you are interstate, the Victoria is also good. If you're in Victoria, keep looking for jobs, keep increasing your points. You may get an invite, but they have certain occupations which is on the priority list and mainly inviting those people. Or if you have very high points, for instance, if you are belongs to an hospitality industry, they're inviting. If you're engineers, core engineers, mechanical, civil, electrical, then they are inviting you. Apart from that, if you're an early childhood teacher or nurse, they're still inviting. Also, the social worker, they're inviting a lot of social workers as well. So these occupations are quite in. Apart from that, if you're a medical research assistant or connected to any medical background with the skill assessment like physiotherapists and all, you still have chance to get an invite. So this is how the Victoria, but again, if you're not a part of a priority list, then you have to have very high points plus a high salary threshold needs to be there. So if you're earning more than 100k, then only Victoria might invite you. Still, it's might. So Victoria is getting tougher day by day, but first quarter is always a graceful. So say from July to September, October, might get lots of invitations and then it dried up. So you just stay tight if you have already lodged an EOI because there might be a chance that you get an invite. For other states, let me give you my priority for the states and then you decide how you're going to go further with it. If you need more information about the states, then put in the comment box. I'll make another podcast for that. My first priority is always NT. Then I will go with the Western Australia. Third is Victoria. Fourth is South Australia. Fifth is Queensland. Sixth is Tasmania. Tasmania is only if you have got the nominal occupation job. Otherwise, you would be stuck. Tasmania, the good part is, if you are in a TESOL list and you are still also in a critical list, then you have very good chance to get an invite, but subject to if you work there for 6 months in the nominated occupation. Now, these are all tips for the state sponsorship. Now, lots of people right now asking me, if we are a current student, what would be our pathway? Now, you need to be very smart enough. If you're not in NT, because NT is a very straightforward, a pathway, then look for states which have steady pathways. For instance, Western Australia. And then be in that list which is under their priority list, like building and construction or medical background, professionals. Or you start studying something which is in the PR list. For instance, if you're doing a master's, then do a concurrent study either for trade, if you particularly worry about the permanent residence. But for lots of people, they're doing masters, but they already have a background of engineering or other occupation which is in the critical or priority list, then you don't need to do a concurrent study for trade. It's just a wastage of money. So this is something you need to look into, discuss with the migration agent so you can get a better idea of what pathway and which skill assessment you require, because each skill assessment would have different requirements too. But again, coming back to the actual points, concurrent study would be another good option for you. Now, if you're just looking for the masters, then my study pathway priorities, my study options would be for you. Starting with nursing, obviously, then I would be going with the engineering, like especially the core engineering, civil, electrical, electronics, biomedical. Then the third would be the trades, all trades like painting, civil engineering, draft person. Telecom technical officer has a great potential. People don't know about it, but this is very, very critical occupation which you look for too, especially in 25-26. Then you have hairdressing, also very good occupation. Then cabinet making, panel beating, wall and fort, tiler. So these all occupations are really high in demand for trades. Then social worker. Social work is very important. And then obviously early childhood teacher. So these are the priority occupations or courses which you should do for the permanent residents. Then one more qualification which is very good, actuarial sciences. People are getting very invites on a very less points, but people don't know about it. So this is also a very good occupation to go for. Now again, the question arises whether we should keep ourselves onshore, offshore to get the high chance of permanent residency. My suggestion would be to keep yourself offshore. Coming to onshore make things quite contended for you, very limited options, whereas offshore you have all the states to apply. So those who have brothers and sisters in Australia and they envy that why we are not coming to Australia, they are not putting much effort to bring us to Australia, I think you should also think on this part. There's lots of struggle in Australia in terms of getting a PR. It's better to build your profile offshore, get maximum points, and then apply for PR offshore, because you would get a quicker PR comparatively to them. They might be still struggling after so many years, but for you, it's going to be easier path. So my suggestion would be to build your profile and apply for PR directly from Australia. But say if you don't have any option, then more than welcome to come on a student visa, subject to if you're meeting the requirements. Now, if again, just we are ending this podcast. So if you have any questions or you feel like that, if you like our podcast, put in the comments. If you feel like you need to give a feedback or you want us to add more points into the future podcast or anything within this podcast, do let me know. I'm really sorry today, I'm under the weather, but try to make sure that at least you get this podcast so you're clear with your vision, what you need to do in 25-26 financial year. Do contact Thinka Consultants. We are more than happy to assist you. Details will be under the caption or under the ticker of this video. And yeah, so Anil Khwaja signing off. Hope to see you next time. Have a lovely day. Cheers.